It's 6 a.m., still really dark, and I have to be very careful not to move too quickly because Fiona, a 10-year-old blind cow, startles easily. I'm stepping tentatively over huge manure piles, and I'm banging my tin bucket noisily against my bare knees to make sure Fiona hears. The bucket is nearly half my size. I'm 9 years old. I have to find my way to the herd of plum-bottom Ayrshire cows who are waiting inside the milking barn. I'm new at this because I'm a kid who lives in Manhattan, and like the young heifers, I'm just acclimating to the pen. But this is where I learned what it is to be a young woman, developed my passions for farming, and where I was awoken to ideas about the devaluation of manual labor and farm work and the subjugation of cows, all of which fundamentally reshaped my view and understanding of what it means to be a woman in this world. My name is Balestri, and from the time I was a very small child, I was intensely curious about the natural world and searched out spaces and places that I could play with soil, climb trees, and interact with any animal I could find. When I was about 7 years old, I was visiting my mom's friend who had 2 pet rabbits. While the grown-ups talked, I spent time studying the behavior of the rabbits and matter-of-factly summarized my observations to my mom's friend. Bo was sad because Tiger was rejecting him. Tiger was pregnant and tired, I explained, and just needed some personal space. She wasn't really angry with Bo. My mom's friend told me I was mistaken. Bo and Tiger were both female rabbits, and Tiger could not possibly be pregnant. I was confident in what I knew, and 2 weeks later, my mom's friend called me to tell me that Tiger had given birth to a litter of 10. I was completely unsurprised. Sharing responsibility with 30 young girls for the feeding, grooming, and nurturing of the farm animals taught me to bring my whole person to work. How difficult it can be merely to live as a female in any species, but also how empowering it is. We girls were proud of our strenuous physical labor there. Every day starting as early as 4:30 a.m., we led 1,200-pound cows to pasture, midwife heifers, herded nervous Jacob sheep, vaccinated Berkshire pigs, and cleaned out barns. See, it was all about learning our strength as girls, from taking responsibility for these other female animals, cows and heifers and calves. Legs smeared in thick manure, I had to coax and cajole massive heifers to cooperate with my request to move from here to there, to stand patiently for vaccinations, to allow their calves to nurse. I carried massive vocal pigs protesting their movements from pen to pen. They would throw their bodies side to side, and my little 10-year-old body would struggle to keep them steady. My work there was elemental and gratifying, and I was blissful and exhausted at sunset each day. The fact that we were entrusted with these important jobs made an indelible impression on me as a young girl. These were actual life and death situations. If we didn't refill the water troughs or shift heifers to rotating pastures, the animals would suffer. We watched piglets struggle with pneumonia, goats succumb to sickness and die. If we were late to milk, the milking cows would be in pain, or if we failed to notice a pregnant cow struggle with birthing, the calf would be stillborn. I wanted to do everything in my power to protect them from harm or hardship. And in the quiet hours after dark, we girls would interrogate the meaning of life and death in conversations that will remain with me for the rest of my life. The sense of responsibility was empowering and sort of intoxicating. I was in awe of the animal's majesty and thought I'd been heavenly anointed when I was entrusted to bid at livestock auctions. I noted more than a little skepticism from the Amish farmers who must have regarded me as a child with no business there, but I was so proud that someone thought I was qualified and capable of understanding what to look for in a piglet and how much to pay. Without my time on the farm, I would not be who I am today. I would not be as confident, I would not be as assertive, and I would not fight as intensely for what I believe in. The transactional nature of these auctions and the knowledge that the farm animals will eventually be food made me aware of how much we as a society are increasingly reliant on the dairy industry to feed the growing population. 9 million dairy cows live in factory farming operations in the U.S. alone. However, as factory farming has increased, so has the intense mistreatment of cows. Female cattle are forced to continually birth calves and produce immense quantities of milk throughout their lives. The average factory farm dairy cow produces more than 18,750 gallons of milk in her lifetime. That's nearly 200,000 glasses of milk. The same milk that feeds the young calves feeds us throughout our lives. It is significant that the word milk itself is synonymous with exploitation in the English language. Because cows exist for no other purpose other than to serve as sustenance, they are often mistreated, and I saw parallels between the mistreatment of milking cows and the lack of appreciation for the crucial societal contribution of women, who are responsible for renewing and nurturing the world's population. But as vessels for reproduction, the fight for control over our bodies and the right to terminate unwanted pregnancies or to take maternity leave without fear or punishment is an ever-present concern of women around the globe. Midwifing these cows brought me a deeper appreciation for my own body and the powers it has to create life. It informed my womanhood and gifted all of us girls with heightened maturity, self-awareness, drive, fierceness, and willingness to take risks, and how to be assertive in this male-centric world. My sense of ownership in Hamo Farms also tethers me to the workforce that sustains this increasingly fragile way of life for small farmers. Sadly, farm labor and farm workers are underappreciated and devalued by most people. Manual labor is considered less important than most other forms of labor in our workforce, which privileges money and earning above all else. So too, the work of women who labor at home to raise their families is underappreciated and without compensation. The United States began as an agrarian society which held farmers to a high esteem. But industrialization and the commodification of our food supply chain has shifted America very far from this landscape, both literally and figuratively. Small farms like Hamo are facing economic extinction by global competition and retail consolidation. Lower prices and punitive immigration policies which disrupt the livelihood of farm owners and the lives of farm laborers. Repeatedly, the world's transition to factory farming and large-scale ag operations has resulted in the even worse mistreatment of farmed animals. But perhaps it takes that kind of disruption and scarcity to appreciate the connectedness of it all. So, how can we both nurture ourselves and replenish, or at least avoid depleting, the animals who are to become our food? I believe the answer lies in experiencing farming, just once in our lives, maybe only for a few brief days, to develop an appreciation for it. We need urgently to interrogate our preconceived notions about what a farmer looks like, the labor and the love involved in growing the food that sustains us. Farming is essential work. By participating in this cycle, we as a society will regain an appreciation for the important role that farmers still play today and our connectedness to the food that sustains us. Hamo profoundly changed me and my sense of womanhood. Femininity is deeply intertwined with agriculture, and I believe that working on a farm is particularly important for girls because it animates the parallels of the experience of femaleness across species and the ways that we can repair our fraught relationship with the earth and nature more broadly. Basically, I want you to play with your food. Don't just play with it. Touch your food with purpose and appreciation. It will change your life.